Last Friday night, the Caledonia Warriors went to a place they'd never played at before, Randolph, and came home with a 34 to nothing victory. Head coach Carl Fricke joining us. And coach, after looking at the film, what were your takeaways from last Friday night?
Just really pleased. Randolph is a very quality program. I think you and I have talked about it, Darren. We don't judge high school football by their records. I was very impressed by their players, their coaching staff, their environment. We were greeted and welcomed. I love where their field is. They got a nice little forest behind you, or woods, whatever you want to call it, and very picturesque and um, I know that has nothing to do with tape, but just a really nice environment, Darren, and I love that when you go to high schools and it's just it's just fun. You know what I mean? Just it all adds to the Friday night. But yeah, on tape, we started a little bit slow again. You got to give Randolph credit there. They're a very quality team. Big, physical, strong kids. A middle linebacker, number 21, can really fill. He's their main tailback. They got really nice, fast, couple of small guys and a couple of tall guys, wide receivers. Quarterback throws a nice ball, and just a really good football team. Darren, we were extremely happy with how we figured things out. We trusted each other. We uh, made good adjustments offensively, defensively. Special teams we're still struggling a little bit, so that is on me. And yeah, just really pleased. I mean, again, really quality football team.
And second straight week, you ended up with a pick six defensively. You also pitched a shutout on that side of the ball. How has your defense evolved? How have they gotten better?
Yeah, just Coach Knutson and Coach Schrader and Coach Reese Waite and Coach Darren Walk are doing a great job with, getting the guys to just communicate and talk. I just think it's sort of a lost art in football, especially at the high school level. It's just really cool. Like just yesterday at lunch break, one of my outside linebackers was just talking to me like, when this guy does this, and it was just okay. All right, this is just great stuff to hear, and I know we're doing a better job of that on Friday nights.
And as a coach, and I know you've been at this for quite some time, how rewarding is it when you have a situation like your conversation at lunch yesterday when a light bulb goes on for a kid and everything's just connecting?
Yeah, it's I know it's cheesy to say, but it's priceless. I mean, it's just again, right? We're trying to develop young people and get them to think for themselves and think on their feet and to be proactive. And quite frankly, it's harder nowadays. But that's our job. And so when they come in and talk to you about these things and you really want to encourage it and praise it and just tell them how proud you are of them so that they keep wanting to get better and better and better at it.
And on the offensive side of the ball, especially in the passing game, you were able to make some big plays in that passing game. Same question or a similar question: how has your offense, how has specifically your passing game taken that next step?
Well, there again, credit goes to our kids, but Zach Hauser and John Hauser are doing a great job schematically, figuring out how to attack, other people's defenses, and they're also doing a great job of listening to each other and just doing what the young people have. There was a point in the game where it was fourth and I think it was 4th and 3, Darren, and I wanted a certain play, and our quarterback Will Allen was he was like, "Can we please run this, Carl?" And I was like, pointed, and I just pointed. I'm like, "Yep," and I walked away. And my point is that I just really appreciate that he felt really strong in that play, and it worked. And again, that's the point of it, to empower, not to just bow down and give it to them. They got to work, and Will works. So I mean, they'll do. But Will just did a great job. Like I know this will work, Coach Fichte. And I'm like, okay, there we go. We're gonna run it. So just love that stuff. Our wide receivers are running good, better routes. Running routes is an art. Um, I think too many times people just think, well, it's the fast guy here and he does this and he does that, which is true. but you have to be able to have the timing and why you run a route and what you're trying to set up and what your scheme is, because everybody's got different schemes on what you're trying to do and how you're trying to get kids open, and our wide receivers are getting better. And of course, my love is the O line. Even though I did play running back in high school,
Hmm.
I learned really fast. You got to take over the offensive line and defensive line, and Darren Walk is stepped in that role for us, and he's doing a fabulous job. Our kids were physical, and they knew that Randolph was bigger, probably, or bigger than us, and probably might have been stronger, but we were up to the challenge.
I know earlier on in the season we talked about your O line was pretty young going into this
That's
season, and it was probably going to take almost the whole season for it to gel together as a collective unit. Are you starting to see some signs of that?
we're getting there. Yes, sir. We're starting to see signs. We were down a couple guys that were sick. Just that's just the way life is, and they didn't want to be sick, obviously. And our sophomores stepped in there, our sophomores stepped in there and did a great job. And to our excuse me, our seniors' credit, they were coaching their butts off on the sidelines. And that to me is even more important, Darren, because it shows unselfishness. It doesn't, there's no pouting, not feeling bad. I mean, yeah, like I told him, yes, I'm wish you guys were healthy, but you're part of the team and you got to help coach. And Maddox Walk and Anthony Von Arx did a great job. We got other guys banged up, like Aiden Burns really tore up his thumb. He's got our huddle camera on the side. Him and Carson Klug are coaching kids and showing them things on the huddle like we want them to, and really giving great points. And that stuff, Darren, has always been important to me. As the older I get, it even becomes more important to me because I love to see that care and that compassion for their fellow teammate.
How do you get kids to a point that they're confident enough to say, hey, you know what? Here's what you're doing. Here's where you can do it better. Because we were teenagers at one time. Hearing it from your friends probably meant more than hearing it from your parents or a coach as a teenager. How do you get kids to a confidence point that they can show some of that leadership that you just touched
Well,
on?
yeah, I mean, again, we got to understand that we're all trying to do the best we can. We're not going to be perfect, and I think so many times people think, well, we got to be perfect all the time. And don't get me wrong, our goal is to strive to coach and be perfect, especially, and for teenagers, I think it's even a little bit harder because they don't want to screw up tell their buddy the wrong thing. But
Yeah.
again, you also got to let the other young man is. I want him to coach, and if he doesn't, I'm going to chew his butt. We've literally have done that, Darren. And then years later, the kid will come back and is like, "You wanted us part of the process, absolutely." So you got to calm them both down. Don't be so prideful. Don't be so arrogant. Allow your buddy to let you. Hey, here's what you're doing on tape. Tape doesn't lie. And I'm really proud of our kids. They're taking to that, and too, Darren. Sometimes there's going to be incidents on a sideline. A young man, might have a bad day, and he's not ready to hear it from his buddy at next door to him at a locker, and that's just part of life and part of growing up.
And this week, you got Chatfield coming to town. You don't
Yeah.
have to sit talk about how quality of opponent they are because everyone pretty much knows it. What are you expecting out of the Gophers come Friday night?
Same as always, big, fast, physical team that's going to play their butts off and is going to compete, and you know. They're going to try to bury us, and again, that should be their goal, right? I mean, uh, it's sort of like two big brothers, right? Two brothers fighting, and so yeah, we're excited about the game. They look really good on tape, and um, yeah, I just that's what I expect, Darren. I just expect a great game Friday.
All right, it's always one of those fun games when Caledonia and Chatfield get together. Hopefully, you can keep the positivity going, Coach. Keep your guys healthy. We wish you best of luck.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Carl Fricke, head coach of the Caledonia Warriors. It's the Warriors and Gophers Friday night.